Good morning, Year 5. Welcome to your Tuesday maths lesson where we're going to be continuing with area. So, in today's lesson, we are going to be doing word problems based on areas of rectangles and compound shapes. So, of course, before we begin, we need to remind ourselves what a compound shape is. So by now, we should know that a compound or composite shape is a shape made up of two or more basic shapes. So here is a compound shape made up of two rectangles. Another important thing to know when we're doing word problems based on area is, do we remember the formula for working out the area of a rectangle? I'm sure you can all remember this. So the area of a rectangle is length times by or multiplied by width. When we're faced with word problems, the most important thing to do is to read the question very carefully and pull out the key information. So let's have a go at one together. This is a word problem based on area. So the question is, a square-shaped room measures 6 meters on one side. What is the area of this room? So let's have a think. What is the key information from this question? I'll give you a little minute to think about it and then we'll work it out together. Okay, so let's have a think about the key information in this question. So a square-shaped room measures 6 meters on one side. What is the area of this room? So the things that jump out at me are 6 meters and square-shaped room. So one thing we know about squares is that all the sides are the same length. So if the room measures 6 meters on one side, so let's say the length of the room is 6 meters, then the width of the room will also be 6 meters. So to work out the area of the room, we will do 6 multiplied by 6, which we know 6 times 6 equals 36. So the area of this room is 36 meters squared. Right, Year 5, it is now your turn. Your question is, a chocolate bar is 10 centimetres in length and has a width of 5 centimetres. What is the area of the chocolate bar? Now, bear in mind the formula you know to work out area. Now pause the video here and I want you to have a go at working out this word problem. And then on the next slide, we will go through the answer and how we work it out together. Right, so I'm hoping that the first thing you did was A, read the question very carefully, and then B, you pulled out the key information from the question. So the key information here is that it is 10 centimetres in length and 5 centimetres in width. And we know that to work out the area of a rectangle, we need to multiply the length by the width. So what I did, because I thought it might be helpful, was I drew a rectangle and I labelled the length 10 centimetres and the width 5 centimetres. And then I multiplied 10 by 5, which I know equals 50. So 10 centimetres multiplied by 5 centimetres equals 50 centimetres. So the area of this chocolate bar is 50 centimetres squared. Right, Year 5, here is another question for you, and this is slightly different than the previous one. As you can see, it has to do with the area of a compound shape. So let's read the question firstly. It says, a local football club is replacing some of the pitch that has turned to mud. What is the area of the pitch that needs to be replaced? So if we look at this picture here, we can see that it is a football pitch and we can see the brown area, which is the area that needs to be replaced. It needs to get some grass on it. So you can see that the brown area is a compound shape. It is a compound shape made up of two rectangles. So you need to now, knowing what you know about working out the area of compound shapes, you need to work out what is the area of this brown section which needs to be replaced. So pause the video here, have a go at this word problem, and then we'll go through it together on the next slide. Right, Year 5, let's have a look at this question and work it out together now that you've had a go. So, as we discussed, the brown area is a compound shape. It is a compound shape made up of two rectangles. So what I'm going to do, which I'm hoping is what you did, is I'm going to work out the area of this rectangle, and then I'm going to work out the area of this rectangle. And luckily we've been given the measurements of both of those. So the first thing I did was to work out 15 multiplied by 4. Now remember, if you find this multiplication quite tricky, you can partition the first number. You can partition 15 into 10 and 5. So you could do 10 multiplied by 4, which you know is 40, and then 5 multiplied by 4, which is 20, and then we can very easily work out 40 plus 20 equals 60. So this first rectangle has an area of 60 meters squared. Now, the next rectangle here has a length of 10 meters and a width of 5 meters. So we know that we need to multiply 10 by 5, which we can do quite simply because we're all very good at our 5s and our 10 times tables. And we know that 10 multiplied by 5 equals 50. So now we have the area of both of these rectangles, but obviously we need to work out the area of the whole compound shape, the whole part of the football pitch that needs some grass, some turf. So then we will do 60 add 50, or 50 add 60, which will give us 110 meters squared. So the area of the pitch that needs to be replaced is 110 meters squared. So even though when you initially looked at this question, you might have thought, oh no, this is really hard. When you break it down, it is all completely doable, and then you get the answer quite quickly. So well done if you got that right. If you didn't, go back a slide, have another listen, and try and work out where you went wrong, and I'm sure you'll be able to do it correctly. Okay, Year 5, it is now over to you officially to do your worksheet. So there are 6 questions, I think, and they are all word problems to do with the area of rectangles or the area of compound shapes. Remember, there are multiple steps to these word problems, so you need to read them very carefully and pull out the key information. And I find that sometimes it helps to draw a diagram. So for example, like with our chocolate bar question, I decided, you know what, I'm going to draw the chocolate bar and label the length and label the width. So good luck. I'm looking forward to seeing your work. Well done.